Hi, third grade. Okay, so I've got a new canvas out, and we're going to be looking at a different type of painting with Sumo paint today. And we're going to look at a tool we need to use, which is the layer tool, which is very important. Okay, we're going to be looking at trying to do just like a sunset over the water. It's a very common type of nice painting that you can do, and you can change up the colors as you make your own. But for ours, I'm going to be making sort of a twilight painting, so just before nighttime. All right, so I'm going to start with the background, okay? You can see over on the right, we're on our background layer in Sumo Paint. We're going to paint up in layers for this one. So first of all, I'm going to switch my paint color. I think I'm going to start kind of like a pinkish reddish color somewhere around here. Okay, and I'm going to start in the background, just kind of make a little bit of a horizon. It doesn't need to be perfectly even, and you're going to see why, because we're going to be adding a layer on top later. So it doesn't need to be perfectly horizontal right now, and it's okay to have some little variance, curviness to it. I'm just going to, as I go, pick some different shades of the color I'm using. So add a little brighter pink in there. So I'm going to block out some colors first, meaning I'm going to put some larger sections of colors, and then I'm going to go back and blend. All right, and towards the center, I'm going to pick a brighter, lighter version of the color, because that's where I'm going to blend out where the sun is just set. So I'm going to have pretty light pink, and then head right towards white, and then add some white there. And as I go out further, I'm going to get a little more purpley. Okay, so I'm going to add purple colors in there, like that. And again, you don't have to use these exact colors. This is just one particular photo I'm looking at of a twilight over the ocean. All right, a little darker as we go up further. Some darker colors in here. Really dark when I get up further. Don't forget, you do have your brush tools, so if you need to do a larger section, you want to make the brush a little bigger, that's fine. Sometimes it slows down a little bit on the Chromebook, so sometimes you have to be a little bit patient. Okay, turn that down a little bit. Okay, now we're going to switch back over to the smudge tool, which is for our blending. We're going to start to blend the colors together. If you know the term ombre, where you blend from one color to another, that's sort of a little bit of what we're doing. I want to start to blend. Since I know this is where the sun went down, I do want this to be a little bit rounded here. So I'm going to let those colors start to blend together. I'm going to push that white a little bit outward, like that. Okay. And just take your time. Have fun blending those, but do take your time and all that you need to make it look the way that you want it to look like. Okay, so I'm trying to get rid of any of those little white spaces. Just get these nice bright sunsetty colors. Okay. And as you go, if you have some stray blending like that, that's okay. It's all right to have little stray marks. You imagine, if you're doing this with a paintbrush, you'd have different little paintbrush marks and things, and that's all part of painting, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be this perfectly blended thing. It gives it a little uniqueness every time you have a little different section to it like that. All right, I'm not going to spend the whole time making this whole thing, because that would be here for a little while, but just giving you the general idea of how it's going to work. Okay. So I want you to work on this background layer, and after that background layer, we're going to go down here, and we have our layers down here. If you look right here, you're going to see it says add a new layer, and that will add a new layer on top. You can reorganize these later by clicking and dragging, but we want the background to stay in the background, so it's fine for right now. Okay, so on our next layer, we're going to practice adding some silhouettes. It's a little bit about like what we learned about last week with silhouettes. So we're going to pick a really, really, really dark color. It doesn't have to be all the way black, but it should be pretty dark compared to anything we've got here. I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller. Let's see, maybe I'll pick a different brush for this. Yeah, that's good right there. Okay, and switch back to paintbrush. And of course, I was changing the blending, not the paintbrush. So let me do that again real quick. Make the brush a little bit smaller. Switch it over to this brush. There we go. Okay. Actually, I do want that a little bit darker. A little bit darker with that. Okay. And on top, we're going to paint a little bit of the shore. So we've got some trees, some hills over here. Start to add that in. Covering up a little bit of that sky because we do want the silhouette to go over the sky a little bit and cover up the white bottom where it's open and unpainted right here. Just add little lines like that. Go across the page. Like that. Oops. Okay. Just a thin little strip of land over there. Okay. A little bit like that. Okay. All right. Now that gives us our land layer. And you can change it up if you wanted to make these palm trees or animals or something different. You can do a different section on top. And then we're going to add another layer. Oops, I had two. That's okay. Remember, don't forget, if you make a mistake, you can always hit the back button over here, undo. So that got rid of that extra one. I'm going to move this layer in between the two because we want this to be sort of a reflection of the sky a little bit. So we're going to pick some similar colors. I'm going to pick some dark purples. I'm going to switch back to just a regular brush this time. I might make that a little bit bigger. Okay. Blend some of that down here. And I see that this up here is darker than that, so I'm going to add a little darker purple in there too. And see, it just, oops, I'm painting in the wrong layer. That's okay. So I'm going to switch layers for a second. We want this to go right underneath. See, there we go. And see now how it's painted underneath that silhouette. So even if you paint up here, it's going to go underneath that silhouette layer. Okay. And let's switch back over to some of those pinkish colors. So I want that reflection in here. We definitely want some of that sun glow reflected, so we want a little bit of those lighter colors too. Okay, now we're going to switch to our blender. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. We're going to blend. Oh, it's on two different layers. So I'm going to switch to that layer. Blend. Oh, no. Go back to the blender. There. Just start to blend a little bit. Switch to this layer. Do some blending. Switch over to the blender. Start to blend. Just give it some texture like that. Forget if you need to do a different section, just switch your layers. All right, so that's the basics of it. You can continue and you can add other layers. Like for example, if you, let's say you wanted to add silhouette of some birds or something in the sky, you can add a layer on top. And oh, that is not showing it. 1 second. brush. Oh, I'm on Blender, that's why. Always got to remember if you're on the blend tool or the brush tool. So we were on blend, so let's switch that over to the brush tool. If you wanted to do little silhouettes of birds or, whatever you wanted to add, clouds, you can add different details and things, but it's just a quick thing and just gives a little extra to your painting like that. Okay, don't forget when you are all done, you go to File, Save to My Computer right there, and you can save it on your Chromebook and you can submit that on our Exodia. All right, friends, have a great day. Thanks for watching.